Hi everyone, I'm Trev from Coiltek. We're having another chat with Gerry in Idaho, USA, from Gerry's Detectors. Hey Gerry, how you going?
Hey Trevor, how's things going?
We're doing good, and we're talking about the NOX coils today. And I just wanted to do a final sort of wrap up with you and throw you a few questions, Gerry, and see what comes of it. Now, the new NOX series that we've got for the Equinox detectors are fully approved by Minelab. So we've worked with their engineers to make sure that these coils are all operating to the specification that they require. Plus also we've got our requirements and quality control as well. So we want to make sure that these coils are coming out to the customer as perfect as possible, fully submersible. So obviously being fully submersible, they're all great for water hunting. What would be your favorite size coil of the new NOX range for beach hunting?
For me, for beach hunting, I'm not going to call it beach hunting. I'm going to call it water hunting, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Because I'm not much of a beach hunter. I'm a water hunter. I feel more rings get dropped in the water than on the beach. I'm going to go with the 14 by 9. I like the little bit more weight. It's not going to be pushed around by the current of the ocean as easy. And when I do hit my target, I can keep over it easier and longer to get my scoop on it. That's going to be my favorite one in the water. Yes, sir.
If someone's got an Equinox, they've got the standard 11-inch coil. Some people may have others. Why should they buy another Equinox coil? Why should they buy one of these NOX coils, and what can they expect from them?
Well, first of all, if you're the average person, you're getting average results because you have the standard coil. The industry standard has been an 11-inch coil on a Minelab detector for 20, 25 years now. Mm. Why would you not want to be outside the norm? A smaller coil is going to give me better target separation and trash. Of course, a larger coil is going to give me greater depth and ground coverage. And greater depth means older finds. More ground coverage means more finds per hour.
Yeah, absolutely. So the three different coils will just give you different opportunities out there, won't they?
Most certainly.
Yeah. So which coil would you go to for depth, for outright depth?
All out depth, I would go with the 15-inch NOX by far. That would be my number one coil. In fact, I've already went to the 15-inch NOX. It's already superseded my 12 by 15 Minelab, which I knew it would. It's designed to do that. Yeah. And so it was just a matter of getting it in my hands. And once I get in some other situations, I'm going to show my results for it as well. But if I'm after raw depth, it be in a Civil War relic hunt, on a beach in sand, or in an old park or school, or I'm hunting for Roman coins in England, or I'm hunting for an old privy or an old can dump, raw depth is the 15-inch round NOX.
And because it's round, we get that true depth out of it. So the 15 by 12 Minelab elliptical coils, a great coil for sweeping, good ground coverage, but won't have the same depth capability as a 15-inch round. On the other side of that, what coil would you go to for sensitivity?
Oh, by far, the most sensitive coil is going to be the 10-inch elliptical. Not only do I gain my sensitivity to my smaller nuggets, which it's going to be phenomenal at, that elliptical shape gets that toe up in the cracks and crevices where nuggets like to hide, where jewelry getting caught in rocks and coral like to hide, along piers where there's a lot of trash from the old docks rotting away. That 10-inch elliptical coil is going to be ideal in those situations. And then all the sites that everybody walks away from because there's too much trash, well, you haven't tried a 10-inch lip. That narrow 5-inch is going to be ideal.
So with your settings with the Equinox machine, with these other coils, what sort of settings would you suggest people to adjust if they need to with the three new coil sizes?
So if I'm going with a 10-inch lip, I can actually turn my sensitivity up a little bit because it's a smaller, remember, these are antennas, okay? And the smaller the antenna, the less EMI I get. So I can crank it up to get a little bit more greater sensitivity on tiny nuggets, or a little bit more depth if I wanted to, with the 10-inch lip. Now, with the 15-inch, folks, do not crank your sensitivity up. I think you're going to be surprised. If you're running on a stock coil, you're running a 19, 20 on your sensitivity, you're probably going to go down to 17, 18, maybe 16 on sensitivity. And if you get in salt water, don't be surprised if you're running down around 10, because you've got a big coil and it's seeing a lot more of everything. Salt, minerals, EMI. You're not losing that depth you think you are just by turning your sensitivity down. You actually want it to run smooth and quiet.
And because it's a big coil, you're getting the depth naturally from the coil. So because you reduce your sensitivity, yeah, we reduce depth a tiny bit, but because it's a bigger coil already, you're still going to have good depth capability. By
far. And I'm going to say it again. Don't be afraid to drop it down 3 or 4 clicks. You're still going to get more depth in the stock coil.
Yeah, and with the coils, we've put a little bit of work into making the coils quite robust, and the wing design especially. What are your thoughts on the wing design? Are you feeling confident with the strength of those?
So far, we haven't had any complaints. Now, me personally, I haven't broke any wings on an Equinox, and I've been using it since it first came out, but I don't use my detector as a hoist to get my big butt off the ground. That's when I think most people are breaking them. This one is a little bit more robust. It's got a wider, thicker pattern on it. So I noticed that you guys said, hey, there's been a few complaints, a few out of hundreds of thousands sold. You actually even beefed it up more.
Yeah, that. I think you're right in regards to that leverage. If people are down on one knee digging, and you're about to get back up, sometimes we do need a bit of assistance depending on your conditions and stuff like that. But the main thing is don't put too much pressure on that shaft, because anything's going to snap this way or that way if you go out of the tolerance of either the shaft or the wings. So we did do a test here with the 10x5 with a shaft, a standard shaft, and we were trying to see where the break point was, and actually the shaft broke before the wings. So
nice.
We think we've got it pretty right. What about gold hunting? I know you're a prolific gold hunter. You've found plenty of nuggets over the years and very experienced on that. What would be your favorite coil for gold nugget hunting?
What I use and what my customers use is probably 2 different things. I'm go big or go home.
Yeah.
If you watch some of my videos, I've been very fortunate. I have dug a lot of big gold, and I've seen a lot of big gold being dug by the friends that I hang out with and my staff members, and we run bigger coils just for that purpose. Okay. But if you want to get the best chance to be successful at finding any gold, I know it for a fact, the smaller coil, that 10-inch NOX, 10x5 NOX is going to be your best chance at going home with some gold, because it's going to give you that extra sensitivity. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's sort of what people are after with gold nugget hunting, because the majority of nuggets out there are small.
I'm going to be selling more 10-inch lips to my customers for the majority of the nuggets that get found than I am 15-inch. The 15-inch is for the big boys that say, hey, I don't, if I go home with nothing, I go home with nothing. But if I go home with a piece of gold, it's a big piece of gold.
It's going to be a big piece. That's right. And you have to be prepared to miss the small stuff if you're using the 15, and possibly be prepared to miss the big deep stuff if you're using the 10x5.
You can't have one coil that does it all. That's why you make all the, you guys specialize in coils. Yep. Not Mind Lab, you guys. And you're giving us these options.
Because like you said, not one coil will do everything. That's a definite. There's been proven over the many years that detectors have been out there, even from the early stages. You've used detectors, in the 80s and the 90s, and still probably
in the 70s.
And the 70s, there you go. So, and back then they didn't really have the knowledge that different coils were going to do everything. So there probably wasn't a lot of different coils around. So we're actually pretty lucky in this age now that we can get a lot of different coils out there. And we know, as well as MindLab do, that different coils do different things on the ground. So we want the customer to experience that as well. What about high trash areas? There's a lot of junk out there, as we all know. What coil would you say is best suited to that high trash area?
I've already proven it, Trevor. It was that 10-inch lip. I love that narrow 5 inches. It allows that detector to see 2 or 3 pieces of iron in that one old coin, or that one, who cares what it is, buckle or little suspender clasp or a cuff button, the smaller coil is going to give you much better target separation. So if you hunt old trashy sites, there you go. That's what you're going to want to use it for. Or if you're hunting modern playground equipment, the 10x5 is by far going to be the coil that I use most at railroad sites. It houses that have been tore up or tore down or burned. There's going to be nails everywhere. Okay, your stock coil is 11 inches, folks. You need to get that narrow coil and that elliptical to get better target separation and faster pinpointing. That's what that coil is for, most certainly.
Well, thanks, Gerry. I think, we've gotten some really good information from you there. And obviously with your experience, we hope that some of the people watching this can get a little bit of insight, especially if they're pretty new to the game or new to getting different coils, that they can get some insight on what these coils are going to do. But yeah, give us a bit of a shout out to your website as well, Gerry, and where can people hit you up?
Yes, so it's Gerry's Metal Detectors, Gerry with a G, just like gold, and it's www.gerrysdetectors.com. On Facebook, it's Gerry McMullen, my first name and my last name. And my customers, hey, let's see those finds. I'll be posting them on Facebook for everybody.
We look forward to seeing all the finds as well from your customers. We do appreciate your support. You've been a good advocate for Coiltek over the years, and understand that what we do is trying to benefit the prospecting industry. So, but we really appreciate your time. Thanks everyone for watching. Gerry, it's been a pleasure.
All right, sir. Hey, thanks a lot, Trevor.
No problems. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.